To get started sewing and piercing, you'll need a jeweler's saw frame, saw blades, safety glasses, a work surface with a bench pen mounted to it, and a chair. Saw frames come in a variety of styles, but all you really need to get started is a standard German style saw frame like the one seen on the right. Mine has a custom handle. Saw blades come in a variety of price points. I recommend getting the best quality that you can afford. They also come in many sizes. I'm going to be using 3/0 blades or 3/0. You may also want to try 2/0, which are a little bit bigger, or 4/0, which are a little bit smaller. You can transfer an image to metal by drawing directly on it with a Sharpie marker. You can also transfer a printed image to your metal. Just print your image out on regular office paper, clean your metal with a Scotch-Brite or sandpaper, then apply rubber cement to the entire back of your design. Carefully place that design on your metal and burnish out any air bubbles, and then let it sit for at least 5 minutes to dry before you do any other work. Next, we're going to put our jeweler's saw blade into the saw frame. Look closely at this saw blade and make sure you can see that the teeth are pointing down. It's important to see the direction of those teeth because it has to go into the saw frame with the teeth pointing down and facing outward, like you can see in this little sketch that I've made. Your jeweler's saw frame has flex to it, and that's important because you're going to need to have tension on the blade when you put it into the frame. The first thing we're going to do is put the blade in to the bottom of the frame. You want to loosen the thumb screw at the bottom and put it between the two pieces of metal and tighten it up. Then you're going to lean into that saw frame, making use of that flex that the saw frame has. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see how I'm going to insert it into the top of the saw frame between those two metal pieces again. It's really important that it goes as far up as possible. You don't want to have it down here where it's going to slip out. So push on that saw frame and then tighten up the blade. Now we're ready to start sewing. You want to sit up straight at your bench pen, hold your metal with your non-dominant hand and your saw with your dominant hand, and use the V of the bench pen to support your metal as you saw as smoothly as possible. Don't try to force the blade through the metal. Let's get a closer look at this sewing. You're going to want to keep that saw frame as straight up and down as you can. And in general, you're going to want to move the metal into the saw frame instead of moving your body all around. You always want to keep your fingers out of the way of the saw, but it's especially important as you come to the end of the cut. Watch here as I cut all the way through the metal at the end of this oval. The saw blade is going to go into the bench pen, and I want to be careful my finger's not in the way so that it doesn't dive right into my finger. Right there. Cutting on a printed out design is going to be the same thing. You're going to just cut right through the paper. Just make sure you've let it dry for a little while so that it doesn't slide around. Now, we're cutting a curve right now like we did before, and that's a good thing to practice, but when you get to an angle, those are a little trickier. And so what you're going to see me do when I get to this corner is I'm going to saw in place a little bit. So I'm not going forward at all. It's sort of hard to tell. And I turn my metal, and when it is the direction I want it to go, I can go forward again. And I'm going to do it again here really quickly. So I saw in place, no forward motion. And when I'm oriented the way I want it to go, I just keep going forward. This does take quite a bit of practice. As I get close to sewing the end of this piece, I'm going to be really careful again that my fingers are out of the way of the blade. After your piece is sawn out, you can remove the paper with the rubber cement, and you want to just save all your scrap metal. That can either be recycled or used in other pieces. And then go ahead and peel the paper off of your sawed piece as well. Sewing does take practice, and you're going to break blades. That's why they sell them in packs of 144. Here I torqued the frame and broke the blade. All I have to do is put in another one and keep going. Let's talk about how to pierce out a negative space. I'm going to draw 2 ovals on a piece of metal, and I'm going to cut the smaller one out of the center. I need to prepare this metal to drill a hole, so I'm going to put it on a steel block, and I'm going to use a center punch, which is just a sharp scribe-like tool with a mallet, and I'm going to just use that center punch to make a little divot somewhere on the inside of my negative space. And it's just a little divot. I'm not trying to punch all the way through the metal. I just want to make a little mark. I'm going to use a flex shaft to drill a hole, but you could also use a drill press or a hole punch. Put your bit in the collet and use a chuck key to tighten it up. I like to press on the foot pedal and make sure my bit is straight. That looks good. You might want to lubricate your bit with a little Burr Life or 3-in-1 oil just to prolong the life of your bit. And then you want to hold your metal really securely with your non-dominant hand, and you want to put your bit in the little divot that you made with the center punch and drill straight down. Notice how my arm is braced on the side of the bench to keep everything straight and secure. I'm also wearing safety glasses. Now that you have a hole in your metal, you're ready to start piercing. You're going to loosen the top thumb screw so that the blade is free at the top, and you're going to thread that blade through the hole that you made and let it dangle on your saw frame. Then you're going to press that saw frame into the bench to put tension on the blade as you tighten it up. Now that we're sewing as we did before, just a few more reminders about good sewing technique. Don't try to force the blade through the metal. Let the saw do the work. You are putting forward pressure on it, but not so hard to break the blade or get it hung up. Remember to try to use long strokes of the blade instead of short, choppy ones. Don't saw towards your fingers, and turn the metal into the blade as much as possible. Thanks for watching, and good luck sawing.